Good day, everyone. My name is Nanzhou Ye, and my issue is about effects of standardized testing on teachers in Australian secondary schools. I will argue that the negative impacts of the standard testing on teachers outweigh its positive effects. In order to support my argument, I'd like to begin with talking about some basic background information on my issue, and then I will analyze the negative impacts of standard testing on teachers from two aspects. One is for the negative impacts on teachers, and the other one is for negative impacts on teaching practice. And finally, I will give some recommendations and make a conclusion. Firstly, I'd like to briefly introduce some background information about the standard test in Australia. Nowadays, too much emphasis is put on the standardized testing in Australia, and like the NAPLAN, and there are certain levels of secondary schools of different levels of socioeconomic status. And finally, teacher plays a really important role in policy enactment. On the one hand, I believe that standardized testing has negative impacts on teachers. Firstly, it may impose much pressure on teachers, and teachers are always blamed for the decrease of the educational standards in the new media coverage, which represents public opinions. And this makes teachers really frustrated. And it may make teachers get overloaded as teachers have to do a lot of post-test activities. What's more, it may affect teachers' future employment and reputation. What's worse, teachers may suffer from the top-down pressure from government to principals, to parents, and finally to teachers. Secondly, it may lead to teachers' unethical behavior like cheating. Some teachers convince their students not to attend the test due to their low ability, which is an involuntary cheating behavior of educators. Thirdly, it may spoil the relationship between teachers and school community, parents, as well as students. Competition will occur between the teachers and other staff. As a Year 7 teacher said, the standardized test really slanders the teachers and the schools. And it may raise strained communications between teachers and parents, as teachers have to spend too much time explaining the test to parents, which may make parents really anxious. As for the relationship between teachers and students, especially in some schools with low socioeconomic status, teachers know that their students in the low level of knowledge, but they still encourage the student to do the same test. So when the students fail to improve the results, they may not trust their teachers anymore. Although it may be beneficial for teachers' personal growth, as NAPLAN requires high-level thinking and the ability of teachers to analyze and interrogate data, the NAPLAN only provides raw data, which means teachers have to spend too much time in organizing it, analyzing it, to evaluate student performance in different aspects, which makes teachers' work really stressful. On the other hand, the standardized testing has negative impacts on teaching practice. Firstly, the teaching content may be boring and shallow, as the standardized testing narrows the curriculum to subjects which are related to the test, so it may damage the breadth and depth of the teaching content, and the teacher thinks it is relevant to students' modern life, so it makes the class a bit boring. Secondly, the teachers focus on the test and may cut time to teach to the test. Thirdly, it may distort teachers' approaches, as students from different levels of schools have different levels of knowledge, but they have to do the same test. So teachers will mainly focus on the teacher-centered approaches like the lecture, which lead to the less creativity and flexibility of the teacher approaches. However, I think that the data from the test may inform teachers about the weakness of their students. But the result will be shown after several months after the test, so it means that the data from the test may not be valid on time. So finally, I recommend that there should be various assessment approaches, especially for the assessment for learning, and teachers should focus on students' learning but not their results of the test. And what's more, teachers' judgment on students should be paid more attention. Finally, the test should meet students' demands in different schools of different levels. So in conclusion, the negative impacts of the STEM testing on teachers in auxiliary secondary schools outweigh its positive effects. And these are my references. That's all. Thank you.